I can confirm the UK will recognise the State of Palestine by the United Nations General Assembly in September, unless the Israeli government takes substantive steps to end the appalling situation in Gaza, agree to a ceasefire, and commit to a long-term sustainable peace.
UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer making demands of Israel and threatening to recognize a Palestinian state. Now, this comes shortly after President Trump met with Starmer in Scotland, and here's what President Trump said.
We never discussed it, surprisingly. It was never really discussed. Maybe a little bit at the news conference, but he was sort of discussing it with you. We never did discuss it, and we have no view on that.
You're saying you're not taking a view on Sir Keir Starmer's announcement. Does that mean you're
No, I guess Starmer is doing the same as Macron, right? He's basically, is he saying the same thing? I think so. Essentially, they're saying the same thing, and that's okay. But, you know, it doesn't mean I have to agree.
Mark Levin is host of Life, Liberty, and Levin, and author of the new book on power, and it's really good to have you here today.
Morning.
There's a lot to cover here. Let's start with the UK and France deciding that they're going to threaten Israel to recognize Palestine as a state if they don't make some demands on Gaza. Your thoughts?
First of all, can I say I love your show? Am I allowed to do that?
Yeah,
your show
thank
is
you.
Great. All right.
Say it twice if you like.
You know, it's very interesting to hear the UK Prime Minister talk like that. You know, in February 1945, the RAF, with the support of the United States Army Air Corps, obliterated Dresden, bombed it into smithereens. Dresden didn't have any military use whatsoever. It was sort of the Florence of Germany, and they took it off the map. Anywhere from 50,000 to 250,000 people were obliterated and died. We bombed Tokyo repeatedly. We bombed Berlin repeatedly because these were population centers. We know well about Hiroshima and Nagasaki. I'm a little sick and tired of these Western Europeans lecturing the state of Israel about how to fight a war. If they had had their way, Israel already would have surrendered to Hamas, Iran, Hezbollah, and the Houthis. These guys don't know how to fight a war. They don't know how to defend their own people. They have open immigration. Their countries have been taken over. Let me explain a few things, if I might. If you listen to that man there and think about what he's asking Israel to do, it's an impossibility. Have peace in Gaza without Hamas, make sure the people are fed. Well, isn't that lovely? And exactly what have the Brits done to accomplish that? Exactly what have the French done to accomplish that? Everything they're saying and everything they're doing is giving aid and comfort to Hamas, just like they gave aid and comfort to Iran when President Trump decided to deal with Iran. They have no rational policy at all for Israel to defend itself and protect itself. Let's take a look at this. You've got the New York Times that has a photo of this poor Palestinian kid who is all skin and bones, and they're basically assigning the responsibility to starvation in Palestine. Turns out he has cystic fibrosis. It has absolutely nothing to do with the Israelis. This isn't the first time that Hamas has done this, and that the European newspapers, the New York Times and the Washington Post run. I have a Washington Post article right here. More than 60,000 lives lost in Gaza. Toll collated by Enclave's health ministry is likely to be an undercount. The health ministry is run by Hamas. They keep using these Hamas numbers. Then they list thousands of children who have been killed. Who's killing them? Hamas can surrender tomorrow, give the Israelis their people back, the bodies of the people they've killed back. It would be over in 2 seconds. But they don't do it. Hamas needs this. Hamas is killing its own people the way Mao killed his own people, the way Stalin killed his own people, the way dictators, fascists, Marxists kill their own people to hold on to power. The people mean nothing. The Israelis mean nothing to them. Their own Palestinians mean nothing to them. Yeah, we've got stories here that the news isn't covering from independent sources. Hamas fakes casualty figures. The numbers are not real. From a professor at the Wharton School, Abraham Weiner, it's not in any of these news articles. Here's the Henry Jackson Society, how Hamas won the disinformation war, the manipulation of Gaza casualty figures. Nobody in the main press runs with this. Here's the New York Post, the lies behind the Gaza casualty figures and thousands of names removed without explanation. Hamas has confessed that its numbers are wrong, and the Western media keeps using their numbers. Here we have, what have the Israelis done? 1.8 million tons of supplies delivered to Gaza. The UN must stop acting like the only aid delivered through its own channels qualifies as humanitarian aid. Everybody knows what's going on. Hamas is killing volunteers. Hamas is killing Palestinians who want to eat. Hamas is hoarding the food for itself, selling what's ever left over at usury rates. Everybody knows what's going on. Everybody. And what is Israel supposed to do? By the way, one other thing. I'm sorry, I know I'm filibustering here. John Spencer he's an expert, did a great review. This is the only country in the history of modern warfare that has fed the citizens of its enemy in a time of war. We didn't do it in World War II for the Germans and the Japanese. Hell no. We didn't do it during the Korean War. We didn't do it during the Vietnam War. We didn't do it in Afghanistan. We didn't do it in Iraq. We have never done it. No country's ever done it. So Israel, their IDF is dying. They're dying every day. Nobody cares about it. Nobody reports about it. They're fighting a defensive war. They've said enough is enough. And they're being told, you need to feed the enemy. While you defeat the enemy, while you have a ceasefire, while you have peace, and this jackass in Britain is sitting there saying, we're going to have a two-state solution. Somebody posted, that's like giving the Third Reich a country before it's defeated for the purposes of a ceasefire.
Yeah, we'll see if it goes anywhere. Just a couple things here. You mentioned the New York Times in your answer there. So they put out this post yesterday on that picture of Gaza that you referenced. They said, we've appended an editor's note to a story about Mohammed Zakaria, a child in Gaza who was diagnosed with severe malnutrition. After publication, the Times learned that he also had pre-existing health problems. President Trump, when he was in Scotland, seemed to put a little bit of distance between himself and what's happening in Gaza. We had Ambassador Huckabee on our program yesterday. We asked him about that. Here's what he said.
Let me assure you that there is no break between the Prime Minister of Israel and the President. Their relationship, I think, to be stronger than it's ever been. And I think the relationship between the U.S. and Israel is as strong as it has ever been. The disconnect is with the media, who wants there to be an anti-Israel message that they keep getting across. But it's a false message.
So your point's taken on that. We're going to see whether or not Keir Starmer and the French leader get anywhere with this idea. In the meantime, you've got a new book out. It's called On Power. Very intriguing. Just want to read one line about what's contained in it, all right? You say that power has been used to liberate, power has been used to oppress, to reward and to exploit, to build and to destroy. What's your message in this book, Mark?
You know, my message in the book is we talk about liberty and tyranny, we talk about rights, we talk about all these things, the Revolutionary War, and when you really think about it, in the news you cover, it's always about power. Who's going to win out? Whether it's Mondami, who's going to win out? The individual or the city government? Who's going to win out? The founding was about positive power. We're constantly fighting the Bernie Sanders types, negative power, where they want to steal individual sovereignty and societal sovereignty and basically deconstitutionalize our country. They are more with the Marxist, radical Islamist ideology of how things should run, which is our way or the highway, centralization, not debate, not challenging, not that sort of thing. Whereas our country was not founded on that. It's utterly incompatible, these other ideologies, Marxism, Islamism, and so forth, with Americanism. But people can read the book. I hope they will, and take a different look at how we analyze these things.
I also appreciate your X account because just on that New York Times correction, just to point out to everybody, the New York Times has tons of followers on its regular account. When they do a correction, they do it to their PR through their PR account, which only has 40,000 views. So I know you helped amplify that last night. And thanks for being on our show, Mark.
Well, God bless. Keep up the great work.
You got it. Good luck with the book.
You.
Thank you, Mark.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.